for you. Escalating tensions along the Israel-Lebanese border this morning, right now, potentially ongoing bombing and shelling across the border. Has the president tried to contain that front since October 7th? The administration held that out in the days after as a success. Has he reached the limits of his influence there in terms of keeping a lid on what had been a sibling conflict from growing into a larger conflagration?
As you said, we've spoken about this and our concerns, and so we've been very clear about this. Our commitment, obviously, to Israel's security is ironclad. We are unwavering, raving against all Iran-backed threats, including Hezbollah. And what we have said, and I think this is kind of the question that you asked to me, is like the diplomatic resolution is achievable. That's what we still believe. It is urgent, obviously. The conflict along the blue line has gone on for way too long, far too long, and it needs to get to a resolution quickly. And so we're going to continue to do that, continue to have those diplomatic conversations. We continue to work on a ceasefire deal. We believe that is the way forward in calming and lowering the temperature there, and that's why we've been working around the clock to get that done. But we still believe a diplomatic resolution is the way forward here. We still believe that it is possible, and obviously the urgency continue to be that.
The president's top representative was in the region, a day before those pagers all started exploding. It seems that the U.S. influence, the president's influence, seems to not really be working or it's not having an effect.
I mean, look, I don't agree. I mean, you started off saying that we did have some influence there in the beginning. I know, but you did say that it was working in your question to me seconds ago. Look, it doesn't stop from the fact that the president wants to see a diplomatic resolution. He believes it's achievable. Obviously, it's urgent to get there. And that is going to continue. We are working around the clock, as you said. We've had the president's White House officials have been in the region, continuing to have conversations about getting to a ceasefire deal. We're continuing to work with Egypt and Qatar, and obviously also Israel to get there. It is important that we get to that to a deal where we can get hostages home, where we can end this war. That's what the president wants to see. He has said that himself, and also get that continuing to get that much needed humanitarian aid into Gaza. And so it's not going to stop us. It's not going to stop us from having continuous conversations, those diplomatic conversations as been stating. And so we're going to stay steadfast. We're going to be very focused on here with this. And so we are going to continue to work on these alternative diplomatic solutions so that we can create conditions there that for displaced Lebanese civilians to go home in the south, and also for Israeli civilians to go home in their north, and I'm talking about the blue line, obviously.
A different topic: the president's hosting the Quad Summit in Wilmington, Delaware. We also understand that he's hosting bilateral meetings with those world leaders at his private home. And what we currently understand is that the press will not be allowed into that bilateral meeting. Can you explain why that? This is the administration that held itself out as the most transparent in history, and that is not transparency.
Okay. Let's talk about the other things that are happening over the course of the Quad Summit. Look, we have stated one of the reasons we talked about having the Quad Summit in Wilmington is because the president believes how powerful it is to have that personal relationships, and he wants to certainly he has developed personal relationships with members of the Quad, and he wants to he took it a step further, obviously, by having them in his hometown, and so. Diplomacy he sees as personal, politics is personal, foreign policy is personal, but we do believe there is going to be plenty of opportunities for press to have access. And I'll just to walk through a couple of things that we are going to be providing, and the availability that you all will have. The Quad will have extensive press access and will be covered by all four countries' pools. There will be 3 individual leader greets at Archmere Academy, where the president attended school. There will will be a Quad family photo. There will be 2 major events, including a leaders level meeting of the Quad at a Newsy Cancer Moonshot event. And press will also see all of the leaders depart on Saturday evening after their intimate leaders dinner. In addition to these coverage opportunities, we're going to be arranging briefings, 2 briefings that NSC is going to be providing to the press pool. It's going to be NSC folks who are focused on the subject matter, who will be available to all of you and answer some questions. And so I think that's going to be really important. Look, this is a private dinner. This is continuing the personal relationships that he has, fostering those personal relationships that he has with the leaders of the Quad. But there's going to be many other opportunities for the press to see exactly what's happening, to see some handshakes.
We're not going to see those private dinners. We're not going to see those bilateral meetings at his house. I mean, when President Bush hosted foreign leaders in Crawford, the pool was invited. When President Trump hosted leaders in Mar-a-Lago, I also didn't mention a press conference.
Yeah, and for this particular Quad summit, we're not going to have a press conference. We don't have a press conference for every leader summit or event that we have. In this particular scenario, when it comes to these private meetings, there won't be. That's going to be obviously at his home. We're not going to have access there, but there are plenty of other opportunities where we believe that will be very fruitful for the press. There's going to see some opportunities to see the president engage with the Quad leaders, and I think that's important too.